Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It is so wonderful to be here on this COP platform tonight and to see so many of you gathered here today, getting your spirit and your energy back in gear to do what must be done in the days and weeks ahead. Honourable political leader of the COP, Mr. Prakash Ramada, all my colleagues, Deputy Leader Lauren Pouchette, all my colleagues, Lincoln, Wendell, and the chairman at the head table, and all of you here, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to say that this country has been set on a sustainable development path over the last 5 years, and we are going to intensify that process over the next 5 years. And you must not let anything stand in the way of achieving that goal of seeing sustainable development happen in Trinidad and Tobago. And what is sustainable development? It's very simple. It means that you've got to do the work and make the decisions that are required to ensure economic progress and economic prosperity. It means that you've got to show concern for the environment. You've got to take care of the ecology, and you've got to manage that in such a way that generations ahead of you will benefit. It also means that you must focus on the people, because development without the people developing is no development at all. So that the commitment must be to the people and to socio-cultural harmony, people living together, working together, doing things together. And that is the path on which we are embarked. And when I listened to Myrna Vieira from the community talking about the development that is happening in Arouca, and when I heard Mr. Jawahir talking about what was happening in terms of the community and talking about people from many years ago who have served this community here, Larry Constantine from Tunapuna and Frank Rampasad, who was one of the finest public servants in the early days of independence in this country. I couldn't help but think that the real problem that we have been able to solve as a government is to show the people that government can govern with the people, that government can deliver goods and services at a rate of intensity that had never been known before, that the people could be in a position to say to their representatives and to say to their ministers and to their government that this is what we need, this is what we want, this is missing from our community and our life, and expect that they would actually get it. And that is the difference that the People's Partnership has made to government and governing in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, don't get me wrong, no government is perfect. And every government in their life of 4 years or 5 years, depending on which country you operate in, is going to make mistakes. But the important thing is to, first of all, when you make mistakes, correct the mistakes. The second thing is to learn from the mistakes. The third thing is not to repeat the mistakes. And the fourth thing is that if you get a second opportunity, you do everything better than you did it before. And that is what we are looking for, the opportunity to do everything better than we have done it before, notwithstanding that in these 5 years, we have delivered and governed better than any other government over a 5-year period in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. We introduced in this country a hillside policy, a moratorium on building in the mountains, so that you would not add to the flooding problem in this country. We placed a ban on hunting for 2 years so that the animals would replenish themselves and would get a chance to roam and to develop in the forests and the forested areas of this country. We made a policy in 2011 that is committed to greening Trinidad and Tobago, to conserving energy, to moving into areas of alternative energy, and to do policies having to do with development and housing that would emphasize the use of greening strategies with tax incentives built in the budget, so that in the developments, in the big buildings, what you would have are green strategies, which include solar, which include the use of alternative energy, and which would use ways of reducing the impact of air conditioning and so on in the buildings. Following that policy and having town and country planning guide the process and work with the developers to make that possible, I want to tell you that very soon around the savannah, they are going to open a 5-story private sector building that has been LEED certified. LEED certified means that they have met the highest standards for environmentally responsible and responsive green buildings in the world. And we have done it in Trinidad and Tobago because of the policies that we have been promoting. And we are going to do that more. I want to say, in terms of people development, in a place like East Port of Spain, where the former regime, led by Mr. Rowley, the PNM, did 5 projects between 2005 and 2009 in East Port of Spain. Between 2011 and 2015 March, we started 61 projects in East Port of Spain. We completed 46, and next week I'm going to open the 47th project in East Port of Spain. Over the last 3 years, we have had $1.5 million on average US of investment in Trinidad and Tobago. We have signed agreements with countries all around us: Guatemala, Dominican Republic. I don't recall what they are, but all around us, the countries, we have been signing trade agreements, as we have done with Europe, as we have done with Canada, etc., in order to expand trade. We have promoted entrepreneurship in this country. We have created the opportunities for new entrepreneurs to emerge. Last night, I was at a function at Little Carib, in which you gave out 41 awards, actual money, from $75,000 to $200,000 to 41 people who had projects that came from their imagination, from their mind, which we were funding so that they could become entrepreneurs in this country. And let me give you an idea of some of the projects that they have. I was talking about the environment. They have a project, one person had a project called the Project Green Office, an environmentally conscious company that aims to reduce carbon footprints. Another one is putting together a green reinforced concrete composite. It is an innovative concrete mixture made using green materials from plant fibers to enhance the structure and composition of concrete. Another one The idea was evaporative cooler. The evaporative cooler is an air conditioning unit for hot, dry climates that utilizes the evaporation of water to cool and clean air that is drawn through it. Another one made a wireless paired following spotlight transmitter, a wireless controller for spotlights that removes the need for a human spotlight operator. In other words, it does it on its own. Another one is working on the design of a car park monitor. This will alert drivers of available parking without them having to traverse every lane of a parking lot. It uses an ultrasound sensor that is exactly what is used for reverse parking to ascertain the status of a parking spot and then to assist the person parking by providing visual cues in the form of strobe, LED flashes, and audible beeps on their position in the parking space. This is what is happening in this country. The country is freeing up. Entrepreneurs are emerging. People are finding themselves. Community is seeing their power manifest in the development that is taking place. And I want to speak a few words to the youth of this country. I want to say to you, the biggest group of people from the age group 20 to 50 are the people who are worried about the future. You know what they want? They want to be able to sustain themselves in Trinidad and Tobago. They want to travel, they want to go everywhere, they want to enjoy life, but they want to have their anchor in Trinidad and Tobago. They want to have a sustainable life in Trinidad and Tobago. And to them, the security of the future is the most important thing in this world. And this country then becomes vital and valuable to them. But there is something happening in the youth community. We have created the conditions where people can do well in high school, where they can get tertiary education free of charge, and they are graduating, and what is happening to them is that they are going into jobs and they're being employed, but they have two challenges. The first challenge they have is the challenge of meaning. They are getting jobs, but they are not getting meaningful jobs. The jobs are not satisfying to them. They are working, they are productive, but the job is not personally satisfying to them. And that is a major challenge. And the second problem they have is that they are getting the jobs and they are getting a salary at the end of the period, but they cannot see how with that salary they could buy a piece of land or buy a home and begin to plan for a family and a sustainable future. And that challenge of youth is very, very real, because for the youth to have a sustainable life, and they are going to live very long, they're going to live to 100, some might live to 110, many will live to 90. For youth to have a sustainable life, they need to have meaning in their lives at a critical point when they are in their 20s and their 30s. And secondly, they need to be able to know that by the time they get to a certain point in life, they have a certain amount of security, self-made, and they also have something to pass on to their children or whomever are their loved ones in the society. And this is the focus that the People's Partnership is now making to make that possible. That is why one of our main strategies going forward is going to be an intensification of the diversification process. That is why we are going to have an internationalized platform in oil and energy. That is why we're going to be opening up the infrastructure of this country in roads and in a deep water port, and the transformation of Port of Spain and the major growth poles of the country. And that is why we are going to place a lot of emphasis on governance and the institutions of this country that can govern. Is that a future you would like to be part of? Wouldn't you like to help to build that kind of country? Would you like to strengthen our country, Trinidad and Tobago, and make it a place where your children and grandchildren can have security and a sense of purpose. That is what we want to do. But I want to tell you that there is a great danger to this. And the great danger to this is the propaganda being spread by the PNM and led by Rowley, a man who shows demonstrably every time he makes a decision that he has very, very poor judgment. A man who has on multiple occasions misrepresented the truth. The last time being going into Parliament and reading emails that do not exist. He is a person who is big on technicalities and very small on facts. Every time you get him in a corner, he gets away on a technicality. And you could never ascertain the facts because they have a strategy of misrepresentation and confusion. And he's quick to accuse, but he's very slow to account. And I want to say that what is happening now as they begin to postulate their lies and their misinformation is that they are going to the country and they are saying to people, boy, the only party that can really offer stability to this country is the PNM. You know, the PNM was there for 30 years. And you've had governments changing and changing. And therefore, the PNM really is the party of stability. But this country, the stability that it needs is the stability of growth, the stability of diversification, the stability of youth satisfaction and youth security for the future, the stability of a good health system, of poverty eradication, of security of human beings in the society, of an end to crime, of hospital services that are superior and better and citizen-oriented, and of citizens feeling empowered that they not only own the government, but they have a stake and ownership in their country. And that is what we are about. And if that is the country you want, the People's Partnership, the COP, is the only way that you can go. And what you need to do here is not just to support us. You need to get hundreds of people that you know to begin to come back into the fold and to build this party going into government for the second term. Thank you very much.